In the Champions League, who played Manchester City better, Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid? In the Champions League quarterfinals, we saw Atletico Madrid with a very defensive performance against Manchester City. In the first leg, they lost 1-0, and in the second leg, they tied 0-0. This very defensive performance is very different than the Real Madrid performance we saw this week. Carlo Ancelotti set his team up to basically wreak chaos across the field and make something happen. A very different performance than we saw Simeone set up in the quarterfinals. Tom, what do you think of these two differences?
I think both of these teams played to their strengths. Atletico Madrid, obviously, as we all know, love to sit back and play a defensive game and try to hit teams on the counter. That's how they've had success in the Champions League before, and that's obviously what they were going to do to set up against Manchester City to prevent them from scoring a lot of goals. Real Madrid, I think they have too much pride and they have too many star players to actually do something like that where they would sit in a low block. So you saw a much different game where you saw a lot of high pressing from Benzema, Rodrigo, and Vinicius, and players like Kroos and Modric following them into the Manchester City's own half. And a lot of times that led to Manchester City's goals. We saw Fernandinho cut out a pass and immediately cross in for City's third goal. We saw a lot of opportunities come from that, but it was Real Madrid's game, and they did that to highlight the skills of Vinicius and the skills of Benzema and get them as many chances as they could, because those players will finish the slight chances they have. In terms of expected goals, over two legs, Atletico Madrid held Man City to XG of around 2.05. In just one game, Real Madrid let up 2.7. So there's the big difference right there in terms of the underlying numbers. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Atletico Madrid did a better job in terms of setting up against Man City. This might not be popular right now because I feel like Real Madrid is really, honestly, they're treating this recent game like a win because of scoring 3 goals and retaining only a 1-goal deficit to Man City. But I felt like at the end of the second leg of the Atletico Madrid draw, they finally had a few chances at the end, and it was a full 180 minutes leading up to those couple chances at the end. And I feel like it was the perfect game plan against a Manchester City squad that really is a much better team and is probably the best team in the world. And to get to that point where they actually had a chance to tie and bring the game into extra time and maybe penalties was honestly incredibly impressive from Simeone. And I don't believe Real Madrid can replicate what they did today in the second leg. It'll take even more heroics from Benzema and Vinicius to even come close. So I think Atletico Madrid put themselves in the best position to beat that City side.
It's tough. I mean, for me, it's really tough. It's just a difference in tactics, right? And I agree, Tom. Obviously, Atletico, they only gave up 1 goal to Manchester City over 2 legs. But for me, Real Madrid, where they're different is they're really relying on their stars, Vinny and Benzema, to go out there and win the game. And Atletico didn't do that. You know, they have players like Suarez or Correa, João Felix, Antoine Griezmann, and instead they set up completely defensively in the first leg. Didn't even get a shot on goal, didn't even get a shot off, actually. And they relied on their second game at home, which, tactically I understand. You're only down 1-0 against the best team in the world, arguably. But at some point, I think you need to rely on the players that you have, and you need to go for it and be aggressive, and you can still be defensive and play the Atletico type of football they want to play. But I think even though we've only seen Real Madrid and City play their first leg, I think I see much more confidence out of Real Madrid. Even after losing the first game, you see all these players posting on Instagram, Alaba, Benzema, Vinny, Kroos, they're all posting on Instagram full of confidence even though they just lost the game. And so I think the mindset that Real Madrid has going into these games is completely different than Atletico's. And, that's why up to this point, I think Real Madrid is actually playing Manchester City better.
I think the reality of the situation is that both these Madrid teams, to a certain extent, have to rely on luck to get past Manchester City, just being that Manchester City are so dominant. I think the difference is that Real Madrid are a better team than Atletico Madrid. They can actually attack at Man City and try to make something happen, whereas Atletico, really, their only option was to sit super deep and hope to get very lucky on either a counter or a set piece. Real Madrid currently have the best striker in the world, and so I think that is the biggest difference. They can rely on Benzema to actually make something happen, and we saw that in the first leg with Benzema scoring 2 goals, the second of which obviously is a penalty, but nonetheless, we see his name on the score sheet twice. And I think that's honestly the main difference, is that Real Madrid are a better team, and so they think the best way that they can kind of get lucky against Manchester City is by getting the ball to Benzema and having him make something happen. Whereas with Atleti, their only option was really to try to get something on the break and have Correa or Joao Felix get onto it. So I think the unfortunate reality for both these teams is that Man City is the clear better team. That being said, I do think Real Madrid has a chance. I think they have a chance to go home to the Bernabeu and, surprise Man City and get a win. I think the players they have on their team, the fans at their back, and also the fact that Man City their finishing isn't always the best. Obviously, they score a lot of goals. That being said, that's because they create so many chances. Benzema is much more clinical than any player on Man City when it comes to finishing. So I think, again, they could get lucky and they could finish all their chances, and Man City could have an off day and go home empty-handed.